that's really what I'm trying to look at. If I am a newer squad, if you and your two friends wind up qualifying and just sneak your way in, I'm doing all the homework in the world. I'm knowing my opponent's pick rates, my opponent's ban rates. I'm coming in with a plan. That said, 2/3 of fans at home leading the way of Zeus, Killer, and Luffy, whereas 1/3 of y'all going with the Penguins. And honestly, with a logo like that, I'm a little afraid.
Yeah, that is a very scary penguin. That is definitely a young CEO penguin on the opposite side. So we'll see what they're able to...
He's got a LinkedIn.
Dude's definitely got... I bet he posts, like, LinkedIn content. He's definitely a LinkedIn content creator.
Definitely a LinkedIn influencer. Either way, the Peaky Penguins have banned out the Cordelius, and they'll go with Shelly first selection overall. And I'm gonna frame a lot of this conversation in the frame of this David versus Goliath matchup. Remaining 7 are not the #1 team in the world, but Peaky Penguins are a little bit greener than a lot of the opposition. And so with that said, Reddy, I think banning one of the stronger characters in Squeak, banning the newer character in Mushroom Guy, and then first picking Shelly, who's Shelly, I think is a good look and a good way to enter this arena as we look towards knockout.
Yeah, definitely like this selection from Peaky Penguins. It is one that demands to be played around, though. You have to select your other two brawlers. You can't just have like a good handful of brawlers here. You got to be playing in tandem with that Shelly. I think Jean's absolutely one that Peaky Penguins would have liked to have had, because you can get a good combo pulling in someone and then finishing them off with Shelly. I think Shelly will sort of struggle to acquire ground versus opponents should they go for a wall breaker. I'm not seeing too much wall break right now from remaining 7, or maybe a whole lot of potential for wall break. A gust selection is also wise for them so that they can assist the Shelly, throw that shield onto her, give her some extra damage, give her some extra health, let her do her thing. But I think that there's a lot of resiliency on remaining 7. They're going to be able to get that Jean star power fired up, right? Have some extra healing, and then Killer also just has a lot of health and a lot of damage in close range.
Speaking of which, Killer playing on the phone. Number of players wind up playing on the large tablet. Interesting look here for Killer going with the phone. Do you know numbers on devices for pros?
I do not, though I do know that most people do prefer to play with an iPad Pro. I like my phone, but I'm not a pro player.
I mean, we all know that. But.
Yeah, if it wasn't evident.
Oh, sick burn. #1, keep track. But we've got the Sprout, we've got the Shelly, and we've got the Gus. Strong draft here from Peaky Penguins. No hate. In fact, I quite like it. You mentioned everything that the Gus is going to do, and then the Sprout's just going to lock down, hey, we don't want to play over here, not allowed. So a strong look there from the players on the Peaky Penguins. But R7 here, a well-rounded draft for sure. RT just is RT. A lot of damage should you push up on him. And then Gene grab. Carl here for Zeus. Draft leaning either way for you. Ready, set?
If I had to pick one, I might say remaining 7. I do like the Shelly on the side of Peaky Penguins. I want to draw some attention actually to the Sprout selection for them, because typically when you pick a thrower into Jean, then that's not really the greatest. But I think Peaky Penguins sort of realized that remaining 7 were going to be picking up that Sprout if they didn't go ahead and select it. So they decided, we'd rather have to play with the Sprout than against the Sprout. So now it'll become, how do we outplay the Jean using the Sprout? How do we afford ourselves some of that range and deny Jean the pull in the early game? It's going to be relatively difficult for them, but this is just remaining 7 having a good draft, sort of drafting Peaky Penguins into a corner, making them either take or play against the Sprout.
Peaky Penguins coming out of the gate waving the tribe flag. I take everything as positive until otherwise, so I don't think that they're rejoicing in the loss of Tribe Gaming in the semifinals that just happened. A little fresh though. Might rub some salt in the wound. Spread out here. Not a strong look. J Hart taking a bunch of damage and enabling the Jean. Giving the Jean that super. And so Killer, look, as soon as Killer has that super available, how much everything changes. Peaky Penguins pushed into the corner, and nobody really able to answer with damage. Zeus wins the 1v1, and J Hart has an HP advantage. But Luffy turns it around. The 2v1 goes the way of R7.
Well done and well played for remaining 7. They managed to sort of isolate the Shelly there towards the end, keep her away from the teammates, and address her last. She's going to be one of the more difficult opponents to take on at first. See J-Heart, yeah, maybe wanting to go for the lane switch, try and go to the bottom side, some shields and the pinning going around. The team comms in full swing. Remaining 7, though, gradually moving forward. They have all of their supers. They're pretty much kitted out for this final play. As long as they can keep J-Heart away and keep him from getting his super, then they're in a good spot for the final bits of the game.
Nat brought down to half HP. Supers on everyone for R7. J-Heart still doesn't have theirs, which is an issue. Because R7 could jump in at any time, and that's really when you want Shelly to have the double pump. But there's the shield on the shotgun player. Grab is good on the top side. J-Heart answers back in mid. Luffy going after Gus, gets the kill. J-Heart alive till the...
Across a lot of different matches. Pick the gene, but leave the thrower open for yourself and let the draft work itself out from there. I think smart drafting for remaining 7. Peaky Penguins are just a little bit out of their depth here with the brawler they've selected, but that's the beauty of the draft. You get to change things over from one game to the next. Already an early pickup for the Peaky Penguins and a response from remaining 7. Nice cookie popper there from Mitsuha, but no takedown quite yet. There it is.
Okay.
With the Sprout star power in, it's 1v2.
I was just going to comment on the lackadaisical death there on the side of Peaky Penguins, but R7 has 2 of them. Little lazy round from both teams, if you ask me. Ready, set?
Yeah, not a whole lot of high-octane action. But Peaky Penguins, if anyone, have definitely come out on top here. Killer does
Looks
have
like both of them kind of like oopsed. Nat should have been closer here to capitalize off this.
Maybe so. Hopefully Nat's still able to win this in the late game. Here it comes. No super for Killer, no pull available. Nat's going to try and get the super off. Might even have to recover the wall. Killer might have to make a play. Here it comes. Went for the damage, got the pull, but no! Seagar! Wonderful finish there for Nat. That was way too close for comfort.
Yeah, I went from alt-tabbing to just, wait a second, can she do this? Thankfully for Peaky Penguins, though, wins the round. Too close for comfort, definitely the phrase I would have gone with as well, though. Note for both teams, though, not to get okey-doked like that. A couple of deaths just kind of happening last round. Can't happen again for either player. J-Heart has the super and the shield. Too far away, though. That was just... I'm not even going to call that a read from Killer, because Peaky Penguins told R7 what they were doing. Rough play there.
Yeah, pretty much, but still no casualties just yet this round. Remaining 7, 2 super strong. Nat has a super 2. Probably not going to be game-changing since Killer does have to can pull through all of those walls. Any target they so desire. Mitsuha and Nat obviously going to be desirable. You don't want J-Heart up in your face, especially when he could just be a couple shots away from that super. Here comes the shield, though. Mitsuha on very low health, going to get taken down by the Vengeful Spirit. Still no super for J-Heart. The pull onto Nat and a takedown onto J-Heart. It's a round victory for remaining 7.
Peaky Penguins got way too spread out there, ready, set. I think they just set themselves up for failure by everybody kind of choosing their own adventure. Ooh. And that's that okey-doke kill I said you gotta watch. Peaky Penguins now with the numbers advantage, 3-2. Luffy down pretty low here, ready. This one should be all Penguins. But remaining 7 are the established top card. They are the, I mean, hard to call a team with Zeus veterans, but they are the more experienced team on the field for sure.
No doubt. I mean, if anything, they've been in the monthly finals more often. Here comes a big response from J-Heart. Easy super for him. And it's Zeus versus World. Little Matcherino winner pin out here because he knows that he is outmatched on the 1v3. J-Heart now approaching from the bottom. Not even a super
3. But they're here. They're here to hang. They're here to learn. And they're having a lot of fun. And that's what's dummy important for me here. Watching these players just kind of come up here, earn some wins, and really get the crowd behind them. Like we said, a third of the fans at home backing Peaky Penguins here against Zeus's team.
I think a pretty good number.
What was that?
Pretty good number. Pretty good amount of support here for the Peaky Penguins, considering some pretty green, some pretty fresh faces in the North American top 4. Great response here from J-Heart on the left side, and Luffy falls. But still, remaining 7 can get some good controls here, some good chops in. Killer especially needs to get this super and prepare for the next round. He'll be getting it gradually. You're always going to be getting it as Gene, which is why Peaky Penguins are sort of prioritizing him, trying to close in, get some close distance between him. Here comes a super as well from Mitsu on the left side. J-Heart now approaching from the right. They're going to try and pinch Killer in. Looks like he almost went for the pull there. If he didn't at all, actually, Zeus goes down. Big question is, does Gene still have that super? It was a bit tough to see, and all the mayhem going down. If he doesn't have that super, it could be pretty devastating. J-Heart's also going to try and slide up the right side. Killer has a super. He might have to go for it. Thought about it, flashed the super, but no commitment.
No, that was a huge answer. Peaky Penguins have won a couple of times now off of J-Heart sneaking up forward and then just snapping somebody and having the 3-on-2. Remaining 7 were ready for it this time. They don't kill J-Heart, but they force them out of the conversation. That's the way you got to answer that. Really nice adaptation there from R7. And Peaky Penguins now have to find the victory on even footing.
It's going to be difficult for them to play into Killer's super. They have a couple of rounds to work with, but as long as Killer is able to fire up these supers early and often, might not even get towards the end of the game. Nat down with the super, affording a bit of room for Mitsuha. Zeus having to close around that left side. Luffy also probably quite close to his super as well. Not going to afford him too much. Killer on the right side still hanging on to the super. J-Heart now gets the bubble shield. Another Kooky Popper down. Zeus all the way out. The pull in from Killer and a gadget in from Luffy. Everyone falling down. Even J-Heart with the final shot. And remaining 7 take us on to a final round for the set.
Real close there. Honestly, R7 wins because of a slight blunder by J-Heart. Popping the super on the bottom right side without being able to confirm the kill meant that didn't have the super a little bit later, wasn't able to get that kill, and it all kind of spiraled down there. Knockout is so specific with resource allocation. One wrong use of ammo or one wrong super can spell the end. And Luffy coming in here gets knocked out of the super, but it's ultimately Gus that falls down. Nice kill on the side of remaining 7. 3-2, R7 with numbers.
Gonna be very tough to recover this ground. Zeus has a whole lot of range to work with. Nat doesn't have too many walls to work with. Might have to throw one up on the left side. Luffy doesn't have any gadgets. Nat has blocked herself off. No gadgets also. Can't get that wall back and can't break it down if it becomes disadvantageous for J-Heart also seeking cover. Just needs a little bit more damage. There it comes with Killer getting the final bit of damage. It's just Nat versus the world. The final shot coming in. And that's set 1 going to remaining 7.
Nice look there coming down from R7. The Peaky Penguins did put up some, hopefully for them and their fans, able to snap back here as we head out to Kaboom Canyon in Heist. Now, Reddy, I talked about this when we jumped into Heist way earlier in the program, I think semifinal number 1. I guess that was literally the last match that we played, but whatever, dude. Where around the world, we've seen an adaptation to this 2-1 where, like, a lot of base races all across international regions. 2 offensive players, 1 guy hangs back and plays defense. Not what we saw here today in North America.
No, and I think just because we did see that around the world doesn't mean that that's usually how it works. I think especially on a map like Pit Stop, which is a little bit greener in the competitive map pool, that's going to be way more viable since you have walls to work with. We'll get to the Cordelius in a second. Kaboom Canyon, it's going to be more about some of these long-range brawlers. You don't want to be left hanging if you have a short-range brawler. Yeah, like it could work if you have it as one of your last picks. I'm looking at you, Killer, to maybe select the Daryl. But when it comes to earlier in the draft, it's really easy to pick a brawler that'll break down the bushes at mid, get rid of some of the walls, and nullify your actions for pretty much the entire game.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about short range. Cordelius has short range.
This is true. He has a lot of speed, however, and he'll also be able to stun lock, sort of metaphorically, people into the Shadow Realm for a good while. He's a very, very good brawler. He has fast speed, so it'll be easier to juke out enemy shots. I think Cordelius is a bit of an exception.
Probably not wrong there. Dude's pretty strong. Substitution here on the side of Peaky Penguins. Nat taking a seat for the moment as RC steps on in. J-Heart, like I said, for my money, was the MVP of Peaky Penguins last time around, so we'll see if things revolve around that player again or goes a different way. Cordelius, Shelly, and Sam on Kaboom Canyon for Heist. What grade does this draft get? Ready, set?
I'll definitely give it an A here for remaining 7. I think that Peaky Penguins were anticipating a longer range map to go with the Eve early on. And yeah,
Yep.
Eve's going to get some value from floating over the water. But the main feature is that you get spawnables. You throw the gear on, you get like 4 little Eve babies. And then J-Heart also going to operate best at long range. You have the AoE on your attack when it explodes at the end of your range. So ideally you'd stay around there. It's also relatively slow shot. So mid-range, not ideal for this Brawlers. And you can see Peaky Penguins are also kind of trying to go back on what they had previously selected with their last pick of Otis to counter out that Sam. The deal is that remaining 7, they're going something more of, yeah, let's just run it down. It is the run it down idea, have Sam perpetually move forward, waste all your ammo, and that's not something that J-Heart's going to be doing so well into with the Brock, but he is a very good Brock player, so we'll see what he's able to do.
Oh, disgusting. Killer out here, get it done, just walked past 2 different players. 13% done already. And yeah, this looks like Peaky Penguins are going to play tower defense. And remaining 7 are just going to be, I don't know, some sort of zombie type creature, maybe a plant.
Yeah, something like that.
Forward, you know, just like Peaky Penguin's going to take a lot to get out of here.
Yeah, with some of the...
Just to keep walking.
That's all it is. It's the run it down. I mean, this is what people call it too, and it's precisely what they're doing. Just constantly moving forward. Luffy staying alive, sending people to the Shadow Realm 2. Does get taken down a little bit early there, but a lot of damage has already been done. Peaky Penguins are slowly starting to move up. Killer on the right side also just trying to get that endless motion forward. RC, though, finally rotating onto that lane is going to be very, very ideal. You got to keep those counters on the appropriate lanes, and Killer's trying to stay out of range of RC. Does manage to take J-Heart with him, but RC remains alive, and I'll be able to push up the right side. Peaky Penguins have to win the mid fight before they can start thinking about the safe. But with remaining 7, sort of staggered, constantly moving out of spawn with a whole lot of health and a whole lot of speed, it's going to be difficult for them to get some of those shots in on the safe.
Nice combo play on Sam, though. Luffy also falling down. Peaky Penguins have their first offensive opportunity here. RC falling back to play defense against Zeus. And not necessarily winning the fight. The Peaky Penguins able to hit the safe up top. Just about 13%. That said, R7, 40 already done.
Zeus on the back right, I mean, he went from 80 health to full healed because Peaky Penguins either weren't able to reach back there or just decided it wasn't even worth the effort to try and get Shelly out of that back right corner. Now they have a lot of damage to make up. We'll get some good damage in with the Brock, but still they're being pushed back by Killer's constant aggression. Now combined with the effects of Zeus as they look for the final bit of damage on the safe. 3,000 left and it's gone in the...
Beep, beep. Hitting the buttons. Remaining 7 really spent, or excuse me, Peaky Penguins spent a lot of time just trying to find their way outside of that underneath the thumb. Brock getting a kill to start off is a great look for Peaky Penguins. It's certainly a different feeling than last game, but it's still R7, the first ones on the safe.
And when we do finally see a response from Peaky Penguins, J-Heart's going to have to be pretty wise about how he responds on the left side. Maybe even trying to stay out of range of Killer. He knows he's just not going to win that fight. Lets RC do the dirty work and try and take care of the tanks on the back lines. If RC's able to pin him back here, that could be a good situation. Here comes a super. Bit of damage from Killer, the silence from RC. But he's left low and vulnerable on the left. Luffy's able to swing in. Same with Zeus. Mitsuha has to come all the way back to the safe and defend to deal with this. This is really... the disadvantage that Peaky Penguins have here is that they have to back all the way up every time remaining 7 get a decent coordinated push. And then they stay there for a while before they can win things back to mid. And with this sort of square of obstacles on the back right, it's also going to be tough to flush some of these tanky brawlers out of there. But J-Heart's in position, can get some damage on the safe, while RC and Mitsuha take care of things on defense. Still, not able to supersede the amount the remaining 7 have dealt so far.
Little over a minute to go. Remaining 7 with a lead, but a slight one this time around. Very different from game number 1. Although Caster's Curse, as soon as I say that, Killer lights up the safe. 20% remaining here. And Luffy and Zeus make it at 0. Remaining 7 win the set like that and move on.
Well done for remaining 7. I mean, once again, I think this one was won in the draft. When it comes down to to really prove that, lest they let that go to the opposing side and say goodbye in 3 rounds.
Gem grab, Hard Rock Mine. A new day here. Maybe we find a victory for the Peaky Penguins. You think we see any Jackie?
Nah.
No.
Sorry, just gonna shut you down right there. Yeah, no shot. No shot. We see the
No, that's fine.
I'm a little surprised you don't see the Ash ban versus remaining 7.
That's fair.
So
Actually, that's real. I was memeing because you saw Jackie's stuff, but like no Jackie.
Okay, sure.
But that's real. We'll hit the real analysis for sure. Shout out to production as well. These brawler win rates are definitely a lot of fun to take a look at. Squeak wins 80% of the time, every time. And here he is, first pick for Peaky Penguins.
I like the Squeak selection from Peaky Penguins. You kind of can't go wrong with the dude. I think if anything, remaining 7 could like out-mechanic it possibly with a pretty quick brawler, but besides that, very safe selection, absolutely first pick worthy. Time for remaining 7 to respond. I think a huge advantage for remaining 7 here being that, yes, they are good tank players, especially Killer, and that also they have that last pick. Now with the Gene selection, I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe Killer is like going to be a flex player this time. It says Zeus, but they can of course always switch up some of those brawlers. Second pick for remaining 7 coming through. What do they pair up with the Gene?
So Gene has largely fallen out of favor. Historically, Gene was kind of like the go-to character for a lot of situations, and as of late, Gene has fallen off in lieu of other brawler selections. Now, if you ask around the league and various smart people and Trav, they'll tell you that like it's a lot has to do with new brawlers coming out with deployables that kind of mess up the Gene grab.
Yes.
So now that we're coming full circle and people kind of forgot about Gene and we're picking Gene back up, which is a real part of meta, actually real, just I forgot. That's tough to play against. As Peaky Penguins, do you prioritize deployable characters?
It should definitely be something in the back of their head. I think they should be thinking about what mid they want against Gene, because Gene's 100% the mid here. I personally like the 8-bit, but it has been banned for the opposing side, so I think it's kind of clear from the outset that remaining 7 did want the Gene. 8-bit's great against the Gene because he has, I guess, better damage at range. You're still going to get chipped away, but the big thing is that 8-bit has that cheat cartridge, has the teleport back to the deployable, and avoids any kind of pull. So it's all about avoiding the pull, have some kind of movement, have some kind of deployable. Ruffs is, I think, going to be a great way to react to this. You have some sandbags you can throw down, but I think more than anything, that is a response to Stu. I think J-Heart will get some good damage locked in versus Zeus at mid. Overall, I like the Peaky Penguins strategy here. I think remaining 7 still have a lot of room where they can get creative with the last pick. The Sam is, I think, going to be just wonderful for dealing with this. I think Peaky Penguins kind of expected this, though.
I think the Sam just kind of respectfully, okay? Respectfully. The Sam just kind of walked over the Penguins last game or last set. And I think R7 noticed that. We're like, all right, let's just noob stomp. Let's do it. Put on the knuckle dusters and let's go. I think that's really kind of what this Sam selection is. You know, it fits into the composition. Sure, we can do a lot of analysis around that, but I think ultimately Sam's just here to step on people.
That's all he's here for. I mean, if he comes up the right lane, which I'm sure is the plan. No, actually around the left side. Maybe trying to catch some of the lane switches off guard. We'll be able to punch right through RC. Here it comes. No Seagar there with the gadget, but still able to walk right through. This is what I'm talking about. The infinite healing, the Hard Rock Mine spawn trap could already be in full force. A little takedown for RC though, as things start to move back up. Gotta see maybe some wall break around some of these lanes to help deal with the lanes rushing in. Luffy's also being particularly elusive. Nice pull there from Zeus and a takedown from Killer. Luffy also just running over everyone, leaving some tire marks, a souvenir to take home. Remaining 7 are going wild.
Yeah, you got the Stu and the Sam. Both of these are real swag picks. Just look at me, I'm better is really what R7 is saying here. Strong stuff coming out in the third set. 8-0 for remaining 7, and Peaky Penguins had a lot of fun watching these guys kind of step up. Remaining 7, definitely the more solidified team, and then just R7, like I said, they were tested in knockout a little bit. But then here in the last set,
Youch.
R7 just, I want to say taking off the gloves, but they literally picked Sam.
Gloves are off. I
There it
want to
is.
see the appropriate lane switch from Peaky Penguins this time. They're going to run RC up the left side. I think that could be what they want. JR might be able to make some big moves on the same lane too, but Killer gets to walk right through him. Still a trade this time. Like, better start than the last game for the Peaky Penguins, but it's match point, and already remaining 7 are leading with 4 gems to nothing.
Nice kill on the right-hand side as Luffy falls down, but Killer just turbo stomping every which way. Showing up here. Where you going, Gus? Oh, this is actually a nice look. Just kidding. Up top, J Hart dealing with Zeus. Falls down. A moment for Peaky Penguins. They're answering back, but a trade out for Luffy. R7's gems on the floor, though. Big moment. RC on the left-hand side. Picking up a couple of gems here, so it's 5-3. Peaky Penguins already more interactive this game than last time. Mitsuha also coming through in the clutch here already. Finding these shots and delivering.
Finding these shots is about the most he can do. Here comes a big pull. Zeus gets the takedown. J-Hart, unfortunately, out of range. Luffy, despite being slowed down on the left side, is still able to power through this. RC trying to throw down some suppressing fire. Killer now in the bushes. This is a dire situation. Takedown, and Killer goes right on through. He's going to lurk at spawn, recover some of those knuckle busters too, and try and trap J-Hart up on the left side. It's an Omega pinch, and Luffy's just trying to pick up the last few pieces. Takedown onto RC. Zeus running back with 10, but Mitsuha might be able to get some damage. Luffy does fall. Zeus on the high health in the back lines. J-Hart still trying to close in around the right, but Killer approaches in close range. RC getting pulled. Doesn't even get to throw down the super, and Zeus absolutely unscathed. Remaining 7 are going on to the grand finals.
Nicely done there by the R7 roster. Peaky Penguins show up. They have some good moves, I think, again, specifically looking towards the early parts of the match. That knockout back and forth was a lot of fun. J Hart had some really big moments. Not played